Today's video is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be kind of negative in this video. So if you're interested in partaking in this negativity, then just keep watching. Hi, my name is Ayesha from simplyayesha.com. Here on YouTube, I make videos about fragrance, beauty, luxury, and lifestyle. If those are things you're interested in, please consider subscribing. And if you are a returning subscriber, hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So y'all can see I am very chill in this video, very relaxed. I have on my Club Pilates shirt. I'm gonna be going to exercise in about 30 minutes. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and film this video. Instead of like trying to get all dressed up, I'm just gonna film it for y'all and we're gonna keep it chill and hopefully that works for y'all. Anyway, I have my coffee, but we're gonna pretend like it's tea because I'm gonna be spilling the tea in this video. So in today's video, we'll be talking about some of my unpopular fragrance opinions, and I'm gonna tell you about some popular fragrance brands that I'm really not that into. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first we'll go over my unpopular fragrance opinions. Number one, not all fragrances should be beast mode fragrances. So I know for some of y'all will only buy a fragrance if it lasts for 10 plus hours. And if people can smell you before they see you, that's your vibe. And I get it, like I get that if that's you. However, I don't think that that makes or breaks a fragrance or lets you know if a fragrance is worth it. All of these things are going to be subjective, right? So these are all opinions. These are my opinions. You are allowed to have a different one, but sometimes, like, I don't know if you've ever been around somebody who like sprayed on too much fragrance or their fragrance was just too strong that it was offensive. I don't want to be that person. I do not want to be that person who is offending people with my fragrance. Now, I wear my fragrances for me, and I wear fragrances that are outside of the box all the time that maybe some people do consider offensive. But if you walk in a room and you're offending everybody in there, I feel like that's a problem. Like, I do not want a headache from just being in the same room as you, okay? So not all fragrance should be beast. I feel like certain scent profiles, they actually are better when they're softer, because I don't know about you guys, but there's been a time when I like oversprayed a beast mode fragrance, and after that I had a hard time wearing it again because it bothered me. And I didn't overspray it by a ton, but I oversprayed it and like it did something to me. It was too much, too much. And so yeah, that's my first unpopular opinion. My second unpopular opinion is that sometimes you don't get compliments on your fragrance because of you, not the fragrance, okay? So let's talk about that. Some of y'all act like you don't get compliments on fragrance because you're not around people that would compliment you. Meaning, like, I've heard people say, oh, you know, in Florida, people don't compliment, or in New York, people don't compliment. And I agree with that to some extent because I just feel like, you know, it's different cultures in different areas. However, if you never get compliments on your fragrance, it may have nothing to do with that. It may not even be the fragrance's fault. Like sometimes you don't get compliments because maybe people just don't smell it on you, right? But if you overspray, you're wearing fragrances that people should be able to smell, but you still don't get compliments like ever. It's probably because of you. And it could be that you have RBF. If you don't know what RBF is, Google it. But I have RBF, and I know when I'm looking that kind of way, people are not going to walk up to me and compliment me. Also, you may have unapproachable body language. So why would somebody walk up and compliment you? Also, you may be dressed, let's just say inappropriately or not well. And I'm not saying you need to go everywhere and be dressed up to wear a fragrance. I am not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes the reasons you're not getting compliments on a fragrance has nothing to do with the fragrance. It has everything to do with you and how you present yourself. Now, I know some of y'all say you don't care about compliments. I do. I love a good compliment on my fragrance. It's like the best compliment I can get. But I don't wear my fragrances for compliments, but I do love getting a fragrance compliment. So keep that in mind. If you are really looking for somebody to compliment you on your fragrance, have those other things on point as well. My third unpopular opinion is going to be very controversial, but I'm gonna just go ahead and put it out there. Sometimes blind buying a fragrance is the best way to experience a fragrance. And I know y'all are like cringing because people think blind buying is like a waste of money, and I get it, and I agree. It can be a waste of money, but people think it's a waste of money. People think you should buy samples. People think you should go in a store and smell, and I do think those are some ways you can experience fragrance. But I also feel like if you blind buy a fragrance, meaning you get that bottle to your house, or at least like a good decent sized decant to your house, you're able to experience that fragrance in a way that you may not have otherwise. Let me kind of explain that. So for instance, a few days ago, I went into a Neiman Marcus and I smelled some fragrances. And I feel like sometimes that first sniff can either be underwhelming, or it could be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. So I don't feel like the first impression is really a true display of how you feel about something. Whereas if I blind bought a fragrance, yeah, I'm gonna probably spray it on a car first before I spray it on myself, but I will eventually spray that fragrance on my body and wear it. And I will say, if I blind bought a fragrance, more than likely, unless I just really, really can't stand the fragrance the first time I wear it, or if I get a headache or something from it, other than for those type reasons, I will try to wear it again. And sometimes I will say I have fallen in love with the fragrance on my second wear. So imagine if I sprayed that fragrance on my hand in a store, walked around, didn't like it that first day, and never came back to it. I might be missing out on a love because it's not always love at first sniff. I mean, sometimes it is, and sometimes that love is true, but sometimes it's fake love, y'all. So although blind buying is risky, I do feel like it gives you an opportunity to really get to know a fragrance. My next unpopular opinion is that there are too many fragrance releases right now, okay? Over the past year, and even going into 2024, there have been so many fragrance releases. And y'all know I love fragrances. I love to experience new fragrances. I love to see what's coming out. But honestly, it's been so many fragrances coming out that it's not boring to me. I'm not there yet. I know for some people it probably is. But for me, it's like I can't try every single thing. And a lot of these fragrances that are coming out, I just feel like they're being rushed out, and we can't even really enjoy one new fragrance that came out before we're talking about another new fragrance that came out. And especially if you are a content creator like myself, it's hard to like really spend time with a fragrance because there's always like a new release. Literally always a new release coming out. So I really wish that some of these fragrance releases would slow down, because when I think about it, some of the brands that I get most excited about their fragrance releases are brands that do not release very often. For instance, Initio, they just released a new fragrance. It's on its way to me now, okay? I ordered it blindly. I actually pre-ordered it from Initio's website, but y'all will hear about that soon. Anyway, they just released a new fragrance, but I get excited when they release new fragrances. Now, number one, because I do enjoy them as a house, but also because they're not releasing fragrances every month. They come out with like one or maybe two fragrances a year. So to me, that drums up excitement. Whereas brands like Kayali, and this is nothing against Kayali, y'all, but we all know they release a lot of fragrances. I used to like live for a Kayali release. Now, because they release so many, I'm just like, it's not that I'm not checking for them, because clearly they're all over the internet. Like people are talking about them, so I'm hearing about them. But I just don't have that same excitement for the brand as I used to, because there's just so many fragrances coming out. Like I really wish they would stagger their releases a little bit more. And maybe, you know, they were trying to get out some releases last year that they've been holding on to it for a while, because, you know, everything slowed down during COVID. But we'll see how 2024 goes for them. I really hope they get back to maybe releasing like one fragrance, even if they did like one fragrance a quarter, okay? That would be better than what they did last year. It was team too much from Kayali last year, in my unpopular opinion. And then my last unpopular opinion is I miss the days of single fragrance reviews. And I'm saying that, but obviously there's still people that do single fragrance reviews, myself included. But I miss the days where people really spent time with a fragrance and gave us like real good details on them. And I'm not getting on anybody, because obviously I'm including myself in this number. And just to be completely honest, if you make videos on YouTube, you know there can be a lot of work that goes into them, right? So even though I'm sure most people do YouTube for the love and not just for the love of money, because it is like a labor of love. You usually don't get out what you put in. When I put out a video, I want to see that I'm getting at least like my normal amount of views on it, because I put a good amount of work into my videos, and I just like to see that, oh, people are enjoying this content, right? But you do a single fragrance review and nobody watches them. And so that's why I don't do as many anymore, to be completely honest. But I really kind of miss the days where we were slower about fragrances. And basically all I'm saying is, like, we spent time with our fragrances, talked about them a little bit more in detail, as just opposed to giving top 20, top 10 lists every video. But that's what y'all like to see, so that's why you get so many of those type videos. But I do kind of miss those days when we could just really get into detail about like one particular fragrance and really spend time with that one particular fragrance, as opposed to just all top 10 lists. So those are my unpopular opinions. And now we're gonna get into some brands that I'm really just not that into, okay? So I'm not bashing any of the brands that I'm gonna name, and if you see me later with any of their fragrances, you know, mind your business. But I'm just saying, they really don't interest me very much. So the first brand is Creed. Now, I know Creed has been around forever, right? They're quite popular, and even people that are not that into fragrance have usually heard of Creed. However, for me, I'm just not interested. I don't own any fragrances from Creed. I have tried some, and I do really like Aventus for Her, but you see I haven't purchased it, right? But yeah, I'm just never checking for Creed. Like, I just don't feel like that brand aligns with the fragrances that I like to wear. So not saying I'll never own any fragrances from Creed, but I'm not in a rush. The next brand is Ex Nihilo. Now, I've never smelled any fragrances from Ex Nihilo, but every time I hear people talk about them or review them, I just not interested. Nothing that I've heard about or nothing that I've seen on any of their fragrances sounds like anything I would like. I think a lot of their fragrances focus on florals, and maybe that's why, because I'm just really not that into florals. But so far, there's never been a reason that I was super interested in Ex Nihilo. And if I saw them in person, I don't even know if I would stop at their counter and smell anything. So the next brand is Ormond Jane. And again, it's kind of the same reason as Ex Nihilo. They just don't sound interesting. The fragrances just do not sound interesting to me. I mean, I could be completely wrong, y'all. Don't hate me if y'all love these brands, but they just don't sound interesting to me. And so I'm never checking for them. If they come out with new releases, I don't even know about them, okay? And they're probably the least popular brand on this list, but I feel like I do see a lot about them. But I'm never checking for them, ever. Like, I never even think about Ormond Jane. The next brand is Mind Games. So y'all, Mind Games sends out a good amount of PR. So I know a lot of y'all probably love Mind Games because your favorite reviewer talks about them. And so you went out and bought some, or you blind bought some and you love them. And I just not interested. Now, I will say, this past weekend when I was out sniffing fragrances, I saw that my local Neiman Marcus had a Mind Games display. So I did go over and sniff some. But the ones I smelled, I mean, they were okay. But honestly, that was the most interest I've ever shown in this brand since they came out. I think one of the reasons that I'm never really interested is that I don't like the bottles. They do look well made, but to me, they look very masculine. And I don't know, I don't like them. And then another reason is that, like, all their names of the fragrances, they don't appeal to me. So when I hear people talking about them, I'm just like, all the names sound the same to me. I don't know. It's just my opinion. I'm not interested. Now, I did sniff some the other day and they were nice. But again, I didn't feel the urge to like sniff the whole counter. I think I smelled like 3 fragrances, and if I wouldn't have been with my friend, I don't know if I would have even stopped there at all, honestly, because I'm just not interested. Not saying they have bad fragrances, I'm just saying I'm not checking for them. The next house is Tisana Terenzi. Now, I know a lot of y'all are like, what? but I think I'm done with them. I have quite a few fragrances from Tisana Terenzi. I think I have maybe like 6 or 7, but I feel like I'm at that point where I don't think there's anything else I want for the brand, from the brand. They've had some new releases coming out. I didn't even look up notes on them, y'all. And usually if a new release comes out, I'm looking up notes, I'm looking up reviews, if I'm not planning on reviewing it myself. But yeah, I didn't even look up notes or anything on them. Like, I'm not checking for them anymore. And I enjoy the ones that I have. I love them. I will use them, but I just don't really see myself getting any more from the brand. I felt like at some point I had so many that they were starting to all kind of smell the same. And I think that's why I'm really not interested in getting any more. And then the last brand is the House of Oud. Now, again, I have fragrances from this brand. I have 4 of them, but honestly, 3 of them are kind of on the chopping block. One of them I love. And although the bottles are gorgeous, and that's initially what attracted me to them, the bottles are gorgeous, they're like little works of art, I just don't feel like that's necessarily the brand for me, because besides the one fragrance that I love, which is Keep Glazed, the rest of them, they're pleasant. I like them. I just don't feel like they are the end all be all. And I honestly feel like the bottles are better than some of the fragrances. Like, for instance, what about Pop? I do enjoy that fragrance, but I have to be in the mood to smell like caramel popcorn. But I haven't gotten rid of that fragrance because of the bottle. I love the bottle. I might just at some point move it to display. Like, if the fragrance goes bad, I may just put it on display somewhere in my house because people wouldn't know it's a fragrance. You know, it looks like artwork. So yeah, I'm just not checking for them. I'm not. Their bottles are gorgeous, but I just feel like the scents never really wow me besides Keep Glazed. My negative little video is over. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't take anything too seriously that I said. I mean, I was telling y'all the truth, but I don't want y'all being upset because I have a different opinion from you all. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I upload videos 3 times a week, so I have tons of content you can check out. Also, check out my website. It's www.simplyayesha.com. Over there, I do talk about fragrance, but I also talk about other things that I enjoy. If you want to connect with me more, follow me on Instagram. I'm in my stories almost every day. And your girl just got a TikTok, so follow me on TikTok as well. All my links for all my social media will be in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.